Guys, the Camaro let me down. So I got about 5 laps in at the first autocross of the season, and the car decided to give me the silent treatment. Anybody who's owned these vehicles knows, or spent any time around them, knows that there is a quirk about them that has to do with the car's security system. So they have a chipped key, and that chipped key communicates with the body control module. There are a couple of components in between there that can have issues that can cause your vehicle to not cooperate. There are some fail safes built into the system, but when the system totally fails, in the case of my car, which I believe is actually like a broken wire, then the thing just completely, like, nothing works for it. You're basically locked out. The car will not communicate with you. It will not, well, it won't respond to you, basically. So that's where things are at, and it's a huge bummer. But I did get 5 laps in. It was a ton of fun. I'm pretty sure I set my best time so far. So enough of me talking. We'll worry about fixing that a little bit later on, but let's show you some event coverage, and then we'll sort of circle back and we'll chat a little bit at the end of the video. All right. I hit a cone. I hit a damn cone. So it wasn't actually my best time. It was close. I mean, and getting around the course, it was technically my best, but that damn cone. Considering that it was super slippery and slimy outside, and I managed to set my best time in that regard, just getting around the course the quickest, I think that's a really good sign that hopefully my driver's skills improved ever so slightly. And knowing that I am going to try and make a bunch of improvements on the chassis, especially the suspension. I should be able to continue shaving time off. So that's a good thing. But let's shift our focus over to a little bit of event coverage, and hopefully we get to end this video on a good note by figuring out what's going on with the Camaro. So let's do that.
All right, so now that I got the thing home, I gotta do a shout out to Derek. Derek Stinton, huge thanks goes out to that dude, because he's the guy who brought out that crazy Corvette. And actually, his buddy ended up taking the Corvette in for a little date night, while he and I actually loaded up the Camaro and got the thing hauled back to my place. So, I don't know. It would have been a huge pain in the butt. And, you know, Brian actually, a thanks goes out to him too, because he was offering to also help make sure that this thing makes it home. But, yeah, I don't know. One of the best parts about the car community is just like, it's such a good group of people and everybody's willing to jump in and help out, especially if your car breaks, because everybody's been there. So, I don't know. Let's get to figuring this thing out and getting it fixed. So, just had to take a moment to say thanks to the people that deserve it. So, let's fix this thing. All right, guys, we got her figured out. At least got the next step figured out. So, we've got a blinking security light on the dash. Now, with the aftermarket dash face that I had made, it does make some of the illuminated sensors a little bit dimmer, so it was really harder to see at first. So at first I thought, this is very strange. I've got no crank, like it's got to be you know, a wiring issue or a blown fuse or something like that. But once we saw that there was a blinking security light, it's a little bit more obvious what the problem would be. What this means when you've got a blinking security light is that there is a fault in the system. What that would normally do, the reason it locks you out is because it assumes that there's tampering with the system. And when it sees that there is absolutely no signal from a chip key and you're trying to crank it, it says, this isn't happening. Basically, somebody's trying to hotwire this car. And in this case with older cars, when it isn't theft, it's a failure in the system. It's a fault in the system somewhere. So it looks like somebody's trying to start the car with absolutely no, you know, resistance signal running through the system, and it's not. It means the wires are broke. It means that you're not getting a good connection inside of the key cylinder from the resistor in the key. It's all these kind of things. And I'll go into more details in the next video about that. But right now I've got a pretty damn good idea about what the problem is. So let's go and wire in a resistor and see if that works out. Stupid handle. So here is the VATS wiring. These two white wires, they run in this little loom and it goes up to the back side of the key cylinder. And in here, there's like a little sensor that reads the pill. That's the pill. So there's a resistor inside there, and the sensor inside of the key cylinder reads it, and the wires connect to that, and then that sends it over to the body control module, which is over on the passenger side. So, pardon my fingers, the trick, and we'll talk about this in a little more detail here in a minute, the trick is to bypass right here. So once you pull the lower dash off, you are going to bypass this. So I'll show you how to do that. There we go. Okay, now we've exposed the two leads. There we go.
All right, now we'll just zip tie it up and out of the way. So you guys can see just how simple this really is. You just pop those wires down. There you go. Splice in your resistor, and runs into these wires. These two here. Very simple. And in this case, I actually left the plugs all there, so that if it ever had to, if I sold this thing and somebody was that anal retentive that they wanted to go back to a stock functioning system, all you gotta do is clip these two wires where the resistors ran in through. So very, very simple. Thankfully, it was an easy fix in this case. So we're gonna cover that in a lot more detail in the next video. Well, a bit more detail in the next video. So let's get this thing cleaned up because it is filthy. That was a pretty easy fix. Pretty straightforward, as nothing more than the chip key system failed. So we bypassed it, and here we are, we're driving again. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. We'll cover it a little bit more detail in the next video, talking specifically about the VAT system. But I need to get over to the hardware store, get a sprayer nozzle, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So thanks for tuning in.
You're not supposed to eat cones.
Yeah,
I got
I felt a little bad about that one.
I was like, yes!
Did you get it?
All the cones.
Beautiful.